Welcome to another episode of the Invisible Marketer Podcast. I'm your host, Coena. In this episode, I sit down with a really great friend of mine, Naheem Cohen. Now, he has over 7 years of experience with repairing credit, but he also teaches his clients how to scale their business using business funding. In this episode, we take a deep dive into the world of credit. We also discuss how leveraging credit in your business can open up so many opportunities for you as an entrepreneur. To access today's show note and to see where you can go to follow him on his journey, please visit invisiblemarketer.com/credit. Let's dive on in. I've been really intrigued since I found out that's what you do. I'm like, I've got to have him on the show because I want to know a little bit about how this works. So I really am thankful that you took the opportunity to come and sit down with me and let's discuss this.
Thanks, Kalina. Thanks for having me on your platform. I really appreciate it.
Can you briefly describe what it is that you do for your clients and what you do in your business?
I help coaches and consultants get access to 0% investment capital so that way they can leverage and scale their business. I feel that the topic that I'm teaching on is specifically like credit, but once you learn how to leverage your credit, it can open up a world of possibilities and opportunities for you to leverage that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think are some of the misconceptions that you're hearing about getting funding for your business?
Common misconceptions that I hear a lot is one, they just don't think it's true enough. It sounds too good to be true. There's been a lot of misconceptions out there. There's a lot of TikTok or IG gurus telling you, oh, you can walk into the bank and get access to this much money with no context. So there's a lot of confusion around it. But pretty much the most common myths I would say is that you need to rely on your personal funds to start and grow your business, which is not actually true. If you understand how the credit games work, if you understand how you can leverage your credit, dress it up and pretty much structure it so that way when you go for business funding, it's pretty much a no-brainer for the investors and lenders to want to do business with you.
As a personal credit, is there a specific credit score or do they more so look at what kind of things are on your credit?
That's a really great question, Karina. So what I like to teach is you want to have a 700 plus credit score, 680 minimum, but it's not only about the credit score. It is about the actual data points on your credit report. So pretty much you want to have no derogatories, no late payments, no collections, no bankruptcies or whatnot. Think about it like if you were the investor, you were the lender, or you were the bank. Personal credit report is pretty much history on how you manage the money you have access to already. Let's say a business owner wanted to borrow $50,000 in capital for their business, but you can see the track record that they haven't managed the money that they have already. You're not going to be inclined to get that business owner the money. Pretty much that's how it works. Personal credit is a strong foundation for business credit. So that's how I like it. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So if someone was wanting to repair their personal credit and they have a business but have never tried to get funding or anything, is there maybe one tip that you could provide to them to help them get at least in a right direction?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So if you're not in a place where you're fundable and your credit report is not looking the best on the personal side, and let's say you have some derogatory accounts on there that you need to be removed, anything can be disputed on your personal credit. There are laws in place that regulate that. And that's actually how I was able to get so many results for the clients when I was doing the credit repair. But there's three main laws that you want to study and look at that will break everything down to you. One is the FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Two is FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Reporting Act. So those two are the main two laws that you can look into when it comes to cleaning things up off your credit. I would type into Google, type in 15 USC 1681. That brings up a law inside of the FCRA that breaks it down pretty much what these creditors and debtors can't do when it comes to regulating your credit. A lot of those laws will help you remove negative items off your credit. And then pretty much once you have those negative items removed, you just want to make sure your utilization is under, a lot of people say 30%, but I like to teach my clients, especially when you're going for business funding, you want to keep that utilization under 10%. That's where you want to keep it. And then just making sure you have a credit history, credit age, and you have limits on there that you're managing responsibly. You definitely want to try your best to get a high limit on your personal, so that way when you go for business funding and they look at your personal credit, then that they can see that you are able to manage a high limit responsibly.
I've looked into it. Of course, my credit is terrible. It's old credit and it's been years and years since I've got anything new. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit how to maybe improve your credit.
So most of the people don't regularly check their credit score or credit reports. So 98% of the times there are a lot of errors that are placed on your credit report. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you mismanaged an account or that you felt hardship. There are a lot of reporting errors that do show up on your credit report. So what I like to teach my clients a lot is to pretty much routinely check your credit report every 30, 60, 90 days and see what's on there, see what's reporting. You might see some information on there that doesn't even belong to you, or it may belong to a family member, and then you can just do a quick personal information update. A lot of that will remove some of the old information and negative items that's on your credit report.
Yeah, see, I once hired somebody to try to remove stuff from my credit, and I feel like they didn't really do much. So I don't know if I just got a hold of the bad one, but I feel like it was just way expensive and it really didn't do me any good.
I was doing credit repair for the past 7 years. I was getting a lot of results, but also I realized there were a lot of people in the market just giving misinformation, didn't actually know how to get results for clients, and it just became this attractive thing to sell, which is disgusting. I don't like that. So definitely you want to make sure you do your research on who you're dealing with, see if they gotten results, see if they're knowledgeable about the information, because you don't necessarily have to hire anyone. You can learn the information yourself and get the results and then go leverage your credit. It's that easy.
Or they can follow you on social media because I'm learning a lot.
I drop a lot of gems and tips on credit itself, fixing your credit, repairing your credit, maximizing, optimizing it, building your credit. So yeah, if you need those strategies, you can always definitely follow me. I'll always keep dropping those gems.
And I don't think that people realize there's so much misconception out there that it's hard to know what's real and what's not. Every time I get a chance, I'm liking your posts and everything because I know you. I'm hoping that people today can see a little bit inside, like who you are, and understand that there are good people out there in this industry and that can help you with this.
Absolutely. I actually want to touch on that too. You said there is a lot of misconceptions out there. A lot of people do think it's scam. There were a lot of people, a lot of like consumers and business owners that dealt with people trying to get their credit repaired, trying to get their credit fixed, and they might have ran off with the money or whatever the case may happen. They didn't get the results or the experiences that they were looking for. And one thing I want to touch on is credit is a sensitive topic. A lot of people, especially me, I know me growing up, I was never taught about credit. I was never taught about the credit system. I was barely even taught about money. A lot of that was like self-taught and just educating myself. But a lot of people are scared or fearful to even look at their credit or discuss money, but you absolutely want to embrace it and look at it, because this can definitely be a bridge and help you close the gap for a lot of the things you're trying to do. For instance, like one of the major problems that I came to, like I'm a serial entrepreneur, and one of the biggest problems that I face and that I overcome was pretty much having the skills and having the ability to be able to tap into unlimited capital. And once you understand credit and you understand how you can leverage your credit for business funding, it just opens the door for so much opportunities. So don't be scared.
Yeah, that's for me, that would be a dream world, where I could actually fund my business and be able to scale my business. So I definitely appreciate you coming on and bringing those tips because I know there's others out there like me.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I am like filled by passion to share this and share these opportunities is because, once I said, we were never taught this in school. There is no financial literacy program in school at all, whether you're in elementary, middle school, high school, and even college. There are not in-depth financial literacy. So just growing up, we were never taught a lot about credit. And if you were taught, a lot of the things that I was taught about credit was very negative and hindered me from growth. And so I had to shift that thinking, shift that belief, and see exactly how the most successful and wealthy people, how they look at money as a tool, as leverage, and how to leverage good debt. So I'm super, super excited about sharing this and helping people through their credit journey, ultimately being able to leverage that so they can get access to business funding.
Yeah, that is a really great point about not being taught in school. There's a lot of things that they're not taught in school that I wish they were, including entrepreneurship for the people that are creative and want to think outside the box, not go to school to be accountants, doctors, lawyers. There are trade schools where you can learn coding and entrepreneurship and in the financial markets, especially like credit repair and things like that, because it's a big asset that you can have.
Absolutely. Like just having the mindset around just shifting your beliefs around money itself, your personal finance, it can open up a lot of opportunities for you. So I definitely encourage, and this is why I like to share my strategies, tips, and all the challenges that I overcome. And not only that, though, I'm also a father. I have 2 kids, by the way. So with this blueprint that I'm laying out, I want to be able to pass these gems down. I'm very big on generational wealth. So I want to be able to have a blueprint or have something I can pass down to my children so they don't have to go through the same struggles and problems and obstacles that I went through. It would be much better if they had a blueprint to follow, to know that, oh, I can do this, do that. It eliminates the biggest hurdle that most entrepreneurs, most business owners, people in general face, is just having that access to capital.
Absolutely. And you make a good point about generational wealth. Maybe we just need to take it upon ourselves to maybe educate our children as they're growing up on these things and make their direction different than the direction that we had to take. For me, I was never taught this stuff. So it ended up, I just wrecked my credit as a young person. I didn't think that was important. But then now I know it's important. I can't really erase everything that's happened. I definitely think that's very important to teach our children.
Are you enjoying today's episode and feeling inspired by the stories and the strategies that you are hearing? I would like to personally invite you to be a part of a community that is filled with people from all walks of life. Inside of there, you will discover a welcoming space filled with fellow introverts and entrepreneurs who share their knowledge, exchange ideas, and support each other's growth. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're new to this journey, our community is here to empower you every step of the way. You can gain access to exclusive training, insightful discussions, and valuable networking opportunities by joining our community today. Let's collaborate, learn, and grow together. Head on over to community.invisiblemarketer.com and become part of our amazing family.
Have you ever struggled with being an introvert and now you're trying to go out and you're trying to market your business? Have you ever faced like the fears with being on social media or even just being an introvert?
Yes, so that's a really great question. I've done a lot of things behind the scenes, not really playing full out and putting myself out there. Definitely overcoming the fear of putting myself out there, what people would think, the judgment, and just knowing that the value that I'm providing can change someone's life, knowing that the information can literally unlock so many other things in that person's life that it's going to be transformational. So don't get caught up in putting yourself, you have a gift to share. God has blessed you with gifts and values to share to the world. Showcase that, stay consistent. Don't get caught up in perfectionism. That was one of the biggest things for me. I wanted everything to be a certain way before I put it out there because I was like fear of judgment or what people would think or what this, what that. But just put it out there, get it done. The people will gravitate and align with the type of person you are, your values, what you believe in, your mission. So just stay focused on that, focus on the journey, focus on the transformation, and just let that come through.
With you getting out there on social media, do you feel like it's been worth it? Are you getting the traction that you thought you would have, or did you think there would be more as you put yourself out there more and more on social media?
Honestly, the journey that I have been going down and understanding like this is a long game, I haven't been really focused much on like the instant gratification, but just knowing like the information that I'm putting out there is valuable. It can change someone's life. It can literally change not only that individual life, but their family, the people they're around. So I absolutely do think it's worth it because you're putting your message out there. It can change people's life. It can help you. And the amount of content that I've been putting out, I've been getting a lot of good engagement and feedback. It's just the amount of pretty much just getting more people to see my stuff, but it's definitely have been worth it. I can see the shift. I can see what it's doing for me personally. Yeah, I love it. And I'm gonna continue to stay consistent, put that
Yeah.
value out there.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I've just showed up. I had this misconception that once I got over being so afraid of cameras that I wouldn't even post a video. And I thought, I'm going to have to post a video if I want people to see me. So I posted a video and then nobody saw it. It's for Instagram. I post every single day for an entire month and I get 20 views on each video.
You made a very great point because we all experience this, but this is how I look at it. Alex Hormozy, when he first started his content, he probably was experiencing the same thing. He was really only getting 20 views, 20 to 30 views, like very little engagement. But as he continued to put out content, as he continued to get better, as he continued to attract more people, then he got bigger and bigger. And then before you know it, the Alex Hormozy that we look at today is like, he got millions of views, he gets all of this, but he started very small. And honestly, I'd rather put out the content now because I know like when you're starting out, you may suck. I rather not have millions of people see that content. And I'd rather the people, as we are developing the skill and getting better and getting more consistent and putting out more value, that it grows as we grow.
Nobody's seeing it right now, but that's a good thing because if they were seeing it, you might get criticized or judged.
Yes.
That's what we
And I
don't
think that
want.
that was like my biggest thing. So I'm like, I don't want to put this out there because I know that it may not be perfect or it may not be the way that I want it and it may not be just yet ready yet. But to the other person on the other side, they may be looking at this and they may not have the same thoughts. Like they may actually feel very different about it. They actually might get some value out of it. It might unlock something for them. It might help them overcome a challenge or something. So just staying consistent, taking imperfect action, putting it out there, and just growing.
Yeah, I agree. My mindset's kind of changed on it a little bit. I may not like Instagram, but Facebook is where I'm getting the most views. Not necessarily views, but quality views. And then
Yes.
I get people reaching out to me. For me, it's creating a circumstance where I have inbound people reaching out to me. So I prefer Facebook over any of them right now.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Facebook and Instagram has been my biggest, like TikTok, I've been testing, putting out content in there. My next couple of series of videos, I'm probably going to be doing a talking head just to put my face out there a little bit more and see how that content does. But from what I've been seeing, I think that's what works best for TikTok and most likely probably Instagram. You could probably still get away with the reels, that the faceless reels, as long as the content is really good. But definitely just developing that content, putting it out there, and just growing it as you grow. Because I can see, like, personally, me growing, being able, content writing, coming up with ideas, it's gotten easier, it's gotten better. My mind is starting to look at things differently when it comes to content and marketing, which is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't dread it anymore like I used to. Still
Yeah.
takes me a million takes, but
Yeah, it still may take a couple of times. And also, I heard this too. Like, we will never that little nervous feeling or that doubt that creeps in. I don't think that will ever disappear. We might get stronger and better and have the facts in front of us. Don't listen to it. But I think that is always going to be there. And you're just going to have to find a way to get over it and just put yourself out there and just take that
yes.
imperfect action.
Absolutely. I have no regrets. I'm such a better person, more confident than I was 2 months ago. So I definitely have no regrets.
Absolutely. Especially like watching your growth has been super inspiring as well. Like you just think about it from where you started, like you were scared of video, you didn't want to put yourself out there. Now you're at the top of the leaderboards, you're crushing it, you're putting video content out there. Like you're doing your thing, Kalina.
I really appreciate you saying that because sometimes I'm a little hard on myself.
You're doing really great. Yeah. And that's another thing, because that's one of my biggest challenges getting in my own way. We are our biggest critics. So like just getting over that and just not letting that voice, that small voice pop into your head and listen to it, like just developing a mindset and just knowing if you stay consistent, the better you get, and the better you get, the more you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I am curious to know, and I will be watching, but once you do start putting those talking head videos out, I would love to hear about what the results are for you from one to the other. Like, which one's better? Is it for analytics purposes, which does better for your results?
Got you. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted on the journey.
Yeah, I'd like to know that because my written content did well. It started reaching people.
Yeah, the written content is I was just looking at a content piece that I put out early on Facebook, like a written post, and I'm starting to see that my written posts are getting much more better, like the way I'm developing it, the storytelling. So that's amazing to see.
Let's talk about a milestone moment in your life or in your journey.
I have a few actually. I started my entrepreneurial journey very young. I would say my first introduction to entrepreneurship was probably before I was even able legally to do it, but I think it was like a network marketing MLM type of thing. I was like 16. So that's when like I first got introduced to entrepreneurship, learning, and then I got invited to this big business conference, went there. And that's the first time that I got introduced to like the business conferences, networking, meeting people, meeting the top producers in your space, and pretty much learning how those top producers think, the beliefs they have, their actions, and how they pretty much got to their success and modeling that. So I guess, yeah, to answer your question, one of my biggest milestones was closing my first real estate deal when I got into real estate. It took me, it was about a 2 to 3 month process. I was doing a lot of cold calling, sales, door knocking, but a lot of that work paid off once I was able to close my first deal, and it was a pretty big deal too. And I was the youngest one in the office, so that is my biggest milestone to answer your question.
That is amazing. I love real estate. Like I want to invest in that one day. Maybe I will, but I really love to get into that and be able to invest and maybe even do Airbnbs one day.
No, absolutely. It's definitely a great economy and business to get into. And not maybe one day, you definitely will. If you learn how to fix your credit, I can show you how to leverage that. Go get some funding and you could get your first real estate deal.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would love that, honestly. I was talking to McAllis. He owns a property management company for 100 different Airbnbs. And we was talking, I was like, one day I'm going to invest in Airbnbs and then I'm going to contact you to have you help.
Yes, that's super dope. Mikkel doing his thing there. And you know what's crazy? It's interesting seeing him doing the same thing because I actually do have a property management company as well. But watching him do it in a different country, in a completely different like industry and area has been dope. I love that we have the community that we're in. It's amazing.
Yes, the community is absolutely amazing. So let's talk about mentorship. What role has that played in your success?
Mentorship has been an extreme important piece in my success, my growth, my mindset, and just being able to model success or find a mentor or someone who walked down the path that you are looking at and that you want to go down to, aligning with their values and being able to follow a proven roadmap to get you to your desired outcome has been super amazing. And the mentorship has played a huge part in that. I would be much further. I would probably be a millionaire by now if I would have taken mentorship much earlier, but definitely it's big. If you want to do big things, if you want to be super successful, if you want to enjoy life, like, and just not waste all of your time and hours chasing that, then mentorship is your answer. Time is our biggest asset. Like my mindset shift when it comes to mentorship, investing into myself is pretty much, do I want to spend the time on it? Because the time I can never get back. Or do I want to spend some money on it where I know that money is always replenishable? Especially now knowing that I have a solution that you can get access to unlimited capital, it's a no-brainer. I don't want to waste my time. I want to just buy the shortcuts. So I want to buy the experience, the mentorship for someone that already walked down that path. I don't want to take 1, 5, 10 years of my time hitting my head against the wall, not knowing what's working. I'd rather partner up with someone who's already walked down that path, has a proven roadmap, and work with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're stuck on something and you just can't get past that, and the mentor that will help you get there and help you say 10x your results or whatever, then it'd be nice to have that funding to be able to go and do that. I would have to be careful because I used to invest in a lot of different things.
You definitely want to be careful of what you're investing in. And that was my biggest roadblock and challenge that I have overcome. If I was able to have that access to the capital that I needed to invest into mentorship much sooner, instead of knowing that, oh, there's a mentor that can help me if I spend this much money, then I was just looking at it from like a lack perspective into abundance. Instead of looking at, oh, I can invest this, I might have to, sacrifice a few things, but in the long run, it will all pay off tenfold. Do you sacrifice a little for a lot later, or do you sacrifice a lot now and continue to go through that same vicious cycle? That was my biggest issue. Sometimes I did have the money for the mentorship, but I'm like, you know what? I'm smart enough. I can figure it out. And in the end run, like, I just realized it's better to, especially if you see the mentorship and that they can help you, then bet on yourself, invest in yourself, and take that mentorship in and get to where you want to go much quicker.
I love that, bet on yourself. I know that was something that Josh had spoke about, betting on yourself and rigging the game so that you can win podcast. So that's a good way to look at it. And I know that we spend years and years being stuck, because I know I did for so long. I was stuck, and it wasn't until I met Doug that I really became unstuck and got over that barrier. And I was lucky that it wasn't a big $10,000 investment, but I know there is other things out there that I could use as I go through my journey. So I really love what you do. I love that you are able to open up opportunities for people and for businesses that need this funding, and that could save them so much time and probably so much interest in the way that your strategy.
And yeah, really just understanding, just realizing once I discovered the power of credit and business funding, it absolutely changed my life. And it can open up so many doors, like it can get levels deep. But just understanding that it is possible, understanding that there is a solution out there for you. You don't have to be stuck. Even if you do have like less than perfect credit, you don't have to be stuck in that cycle. There's a solution for you. You can increase your credit score. You can grow your credit score. You can increase it. Your credit can always be rebuilt. So just knowing that there's an opportunity there for you. And then once you go through that process, there's so much great things that you can leverage your credit for.
How do you handle failure or a setback?
So setback and failure, which I have gone through a lot, I would say my best practices on handling setback and failure is just taking the time to reflect on what happened, trying my best to find the lesson in the situation, trying to stay positive and not dwelling on the negativity. The moment you dwell on the negativity, you fall into a vicious cycle, and it can always get worse from there. So just focusing on the positive, focusing on what's the lesson, focusing on what you can fix, and just trying to lay everything out in a simple way of what's my next steps. What do I need to do to overcome this? Sometimes it's not what I need to do. Sometimes it's who I need to work with. Sometimes who I need to partner with. But just getting very resourceful about that problem you're going through and becoming resourceful to overcome that problem.
First, I thought of failure as just, this is awful, but I'm starting to learn from every failure and every setback that I go through.
Absolutely. There's a lesson in every setback. And I just look at failure as getting closer to your goal. There's only so many amount of times that you can fail until you crack the code. So I look at failure as just a way of learning everything that is not working to get you to your goal, and then just eliminating those things. And then you're just left with what works, and you just duplicate that, repeat that process, and stay consistent. And at the end, you will definitely end up where you want to be.
Well, I wanted to take just a moment. I know that you have a new baby.
He just actually turned 2 months yesterday, you guys. 2 month shots. That was crazy. Took it like a champ though.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know my son hated shots. He still hates them. Yeah, how is that balancing family and business and everything? How do you do it?
So that's a really great question. In the entrepreneurship world, it can get very chaotic. So that's a really great question. I want to say that I have been struggling with it. I have gotten much better though, trying to be as productive as possible when it comes to managing my time, working from a calendar, figuring out what's the most important task that needs to be, just making sure that no one area of my life gets neglected while on my entrepreneurship journey. And it has gotten a lot easier because I do have a great support system. Like my girlfriend, she's very great at supporting, has an understanding of what my vision is, what my goal, where I want to go to, and how to best support me. So just having a strong support system, being as productive as possible, being organized.
Absolutely. And it's really great to have a support system. I didn't really have a support system and being a single mom. And so it's not always been easy, but I've pushed through. But I do think that the calendar thing, like I'm starting to learn it, especially since I've been setting up these interviews and stuff. And I'm starting to learn this process, and it's making my life a little easier being able to have that calendar.
Man, without the calendar, I couldn't even imagine, especially because us as humans, our attention span is only getting shorter and shorter by the years as the years go by. Oh, that's another thing that I want to say. Optimizing your environment, which is something that helped me a lot with staying productive and organized. Yeah, if I didn't have that calendar, oh man, so many things would slip by. I still got to get better. I'm not perfect at it because I still have a few things that slip by. Sometimes I don't put things on there. And that's why I say, I'm not trying to do everything by yourself, but that's one of the things like I'm working on, building a team, building a good like business support system, people that I can lean in with, because doing everything by yourself can get overwhelming and you can eventually burn out.
Yeah, and knowing when to ask for help when you need it. You don't want to try to do it all on your own and never ask for help. If someone wanted to reach out to you and connect with you and learn more about what you're doing for businesses, do you have maybe a social media account?
My Instagram handle is Cohen Credit Expert, CohenCreditExpert. And you can find me on Facebook as Naheem Cohen, aka the Babyface Credit Expert. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, Naheem Cohen. You can search my name. You should be able to find me.
Naheem, it has been a pleasure to speak with you today. And honestly, I have personally learned so much about this because it's something that I've struggled with, is fixing my credit and everything and obtaining business credit. So I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're a father and you own a business and everything, to come and share with my audience and give them such valuable tips and tricks and strategies for helping them with their needs for their business funding as well. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience? Any final thoughts, maybe tips?
Don't give up hope when it comes to your credit report. When it comes to credit, even if you have bad credit, there's hope. There's a solution for you. And if you're someone who has good credit, but you just don't know what to do with it, I would advise you tap in with me. I can show you how to leverage your credits to get access to 50 to 250,000 in 0% investment capital. And we can pretty much build out a game plan of how that would look for you and how it would work best for you.
Thank you for listening to the Invisible Marketer podcast. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Naeem around credit and how you can use it to open up endless opportunities as an entrepreneur. If you would like access to today's show notes, head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/credit. As always, keep tuning in to discover even more strategies that are tailored to using your superpower of being an introvert to go out and make an impact. See you next time.